Hello, everybody. This is Toni Turner, and welcome to the market now as of Friday, August 28th at about 1:15 p.m. Eastern. Well, the S&P 500 is rallying for the seventh straight session today, powered by tech stocks, prospects of super low interest rates for a prolonged period, and hopes of a medical solution to the COVID-19 pandemic. The tech sector's 0.6% rise provided the biggest boost to the benchmark index. Energy stocks are advancing 0.8% as Hurricane Laura passed the heart of the U.S. oil industry in Louisiana and Texas without causing any widespread damage to refineries. That's the good news. I certainly saw on television where a lot of families' homes are gone, and that is something we need to pray for. And now on to three charts that would give us some insight into the week to come. First of all, as we always do, we're going to look at a daily chart of the S&P 500 spider. SPY is the symbol. Of course, this is the exchange traded fund that closely follows our benchmark S&P 500 index. Now, when I captured this chart today, the SPY was trading at $349.25, yet another new all-time high. Just when you think it couldn't happen, it did it again. So we are definitely moving higher here. There's some things we want to look at. Ever since the first week in August, if we look back this far, note the red 20-day moving average, simple 20-day moving average, moving up here almost like a pretty darn good trend line for the SPY. And the index has been moving up, taking a slight little rest here the first week in August, but staying positive and moving up again till toward the end of the August, where we are right about now. So this is all fantastic. And it's certainly a sugar high. If we look down here, though, we want to note that the RSI line is now above the 70 line. So that means that the SPY, as so many big companies or stocks are right now, is technically overbought. The RSI line is above the horizontal line, that is 70, means it's overbought. The RSI line is now at 78.65, so we can call it 79 if we want to. Just, you say, well, what's the big deal, Toni? It's not a negative. But if you're a trader, look left on the chart with me back into the first part of June. That was the last time that the RSI became literally or extremely overbought. The line crossed above the horizontal line. And of course, then we see that we had a little fall down there, a little pullback, little retracement. So it's just like anything else. Nothing can go up forever, and the market has certainly made a heroic, fantastic uptrend since these March lows. Absolutely fantastic, going above the prior February highs and moving higher. But we do have a pandemic going on, and we do have other challenges right now. Especially we're going right now on the stimulus from the government. If that tapers back a little bit, fingers crossed it doesn't, but if it does, then we may be kind of looking here in September for a little more of a pullback. So everything looks good, but please be careful. So now we do have resistance up here at 350 on the SPY. We do have nearby support here at the 20-day moving average and at that support line at 338. We have more support down here, of course, at 327, and that comes in pretty close to the 50-day moving average that's right up here at 325. So lots of support here. Then, of course, should it go even further, we have the 200-day moving average coming in right now at almost $308. And, of course, that was a support point for price lows back in May and June. So we've got a lot going on here. We had a very narrow trading range today, almost a sleepy day in the market today. So I'm sure, though, it will be a lot more exciting next week. So please trade carefully, and please keep track of your protective stops. Our next chart here is a chart of the Invesco QQQ, symbol QQQ. As you all know, this represents the NASDAQ 100 index, a major index in the stock market, and certainly it's home to all the big momentum stocks, the Amazons, the Googles, or Alphabet, I should call it, Facebook, all of those. It's home to those, and they have done a fantastic job, rising from the lows in March at about 160 some and change up here to almost 300. So the QQQ made an all-time closing high, and that's the most important kind of high, an all-time closing high this past Wednesday at $291.96. So far today, when I captured this chart, the QQQ is trading at $292.02. And of course, if it could close right here today, we would have yet another new all-time high. Don't know if that's going to happen or not yet. I do see, though, in a lot of charts, something I want to point out to you. I have seen here a lot of high volume days yesterday. High volume days yesterday. And I don't know if you can see this little volume spike down here, but when you have a market reaching new highs and it's overbought, as it is on the RSI here, the QQQ is overbought as well above the 70 line. If you see volume or high volume, I'm going to call it, in a market or even a stock is at highs, sometimes, and I'm not saying this in any bad way, but sometimes it can mean that sellers are coming in. Something I want you to know, they're not going to ring a bell at the top, okay? It's never happened yet, certainly not in my career, and I doubt it's ever going to happen. The big dudes, the big institutional traders, they don't ring a bell at the top and say, okay, this market's overbought, we're going to take some profits here. And when they take profits, of course, the market will start to pull down a little bit. So just know that I'm seeing this volume from yesterday's volume over and over again. And I'm wondering if people aren't selling here, but it's hidden pretty well by the market action. So it's just a thought. It's not an absolute, just something you can kind of tuck away, think about if you want. But one more reason here, all it means is one more reason to please, please, please put in your protective stops. And it's best to put in protective stops with your broker so you don't have to make that decision when or if the time comes that you want to take profits. Okay, so now we'll go on to our third chart for today. We haven't looked at this in quite a long time. This is a daily chart of the Sector Spider Financial ETF, symbol XLF. Top holdings in this ETF are Berkshire Hathaway, JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Citigroup, and Blackstone. Now, today when I captured this chart, the XLF was trading at $25.36. Now, as you can see by the move down in March and then the ever so gradual trend line moving up here, ever so gradual, not at a steep angle like the momentum stocks have been or the tech stocks, just a very, very, very nice angle here. Actually, the 50-day moving average for a great part of this and the 20-day have been doing their part to kind of draw these trend lines for us. So you can see the ETF, the XLF, is coming down here or has risen up since its March lows. Now the March low down here was at $17.45. So since then, in comparison to some of the big tech stocks, which have risen way above their prior February highs since the March lows, the financial ETF, and of course with low interest rates it could happen, it has moved up very, very gradually and has moved up a modest 31%. So again, when I captured this chart today, the XLF was trading here at $25.36. Now it's nicely above the trend line, the 20-day moving average and the 50-day moving average. What you can see here is the 200-day moving average, and that's one powerful dude sometimes, especially when it's moving lower. The 200-day moving in average is coming in down here, and we've got a triangle going on here. We've got a triangle going on, and triangles, as you can see, price is getting tighter and tighter, higher lows, lower highs. Price is getting into a pressure cooker here, and it's going to go one way or the other. Now, since financials have literally been standing in the back of the theater during the last 5 months while tech stocks have remained in the spotlight, makes me wonder if in September the tech stocks or the high momentum stocks take a little breather because they are so overbought and they are so expensive. If you look at their price to earnings ratios, wondering here if financials may become more popular. So because of this triangle where the XLF is going to move either up or down dramatically, and you'll know, in the coming week, I'm going to keep an eye on the XLF. And what I'm going to do, and you don't have to wait with me, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if the XLF can climb over the 200-day moving average. 200-day moving average right now is coming in at $25.77. So let's say if the XLF moves up to 25.80, and that's not very far from where it is now, I want it over this line because this is really resistance here. If you want to buy earlier, you can. But if it can move up over 25.80 over the 200-day moving average, if it can do that, and if the market remains reasonably positive, I will probably add a position of the XLF to my portfolio. Now I'm going to place my initial stop down here under the 50-day moving average at $24. And then if or when the XLF breaks over this high here at 26.80, I may add to that position, and I will very definitely turn my stop into a trailing stop. So with all that said, you may want to keep an eye on the XLF in the coming week. And now, before we go on to final thoughts, please know that for a limited time only, we are offering all of my popular training programs at a 20% discount. So if you want to discover my simple yet powerful strategies for swing trading, for trend trading, for winning setups, please, please, please consider that these strategies will help you increase your gains quickly and easily. Just go to the link on this screen or simply click on the orange button below. So check it out. And now on for final thoughts. I've got a question for you here that I absolutely loved, and I've used it so many times in my life. The question is, how would you do it if you knew you couldn't fail? How would you do it if you knew you couldn't fail? I have used this saying so many times in my life, and it has been the driver to help me overcome obstacles and achieve more than I ever could have imagined. Now, why does this question work so well? And I actually heard it at church, so I am grateful to that minister. Why does it work so well? Because if you really contemplate the question, while you're holding a goal that you want to fulfill in your mind, this question can help eliminate limiting thoughts. So keep this in your mind, and I can hear you say, well, hey, Toni, if I knew I couldn't fail at becoming a highly successful trader, well, if I knew I couldn't fail, then I would do this, and then I would do this, and then I would do this. And when you do that, the ideas of how to succeed, they literally tumble into your mind, and you can feel the excitement rising if you knew you couldn't fail, right? Now, without this question, if we see a challenging project in front of us, the limiting negative ideas usually always take over. You may think, oh heck, you're not smart enough to do that, you're not good enough to do that, you don't have enough time, and on and on and on. Now, at that point, when I hear those words coming into my mind, I know it is the perfect time to shoo them away by coming right back to, how would I do it if I knew I couldn't fail? Now, with that mindset in place, maybe you write down a realistic business plan for your trading business. Next, maybe you write down the tools you're going to use to trade, your trading style, and then detail out your strategies. Maybe, for example, you list the Sleeping Tigers setup that I teach in my How to Swing Trade Successfully training program, or other strategies you've learned. And believe me, it's very, very wise to take 15 or 20 minutes and write down a short business plan like this, keeping in mind how would you do it if you knew you couldn't fail. So please know that when you decide on a realistic vision or goal, it is natural for obstacle thoughts to crop up. When that happens, ask the question, how would I do it if I knew I couldn't fail? This should clear away self-limiting thoughts and help you move forward on the very best path to success. Finally, if you want to become a consistently winning trader, please check out our 20% off sale on our simple yet powerful online trading programs that will help you to increase your trading profits from now on. From swing fishing to bottom fishing to trend trading and more, just click on the button below for more information. Until next week, keep green on your screen. I'm Toni Turner, and this is The Market Now.